because we are a small group. So I hope you guys can be interactive with me while Ali also have the harem. Okay, so you guys can have more time to share, and also we can discuss about this one. Okay, so that's product marketing. Sorry, product management. And yeah, so I just want to introduce myself a little bit, as I know that you guys know me, so I will introduce my idol here. This is Wang Yibo from China. Yeah, so recently I watched him a lot, so I feel upset with him. Okay, so I want to just a little bit sharing about your current stage of how you feel about product management, and also how you think about that, like the struggle that you have in the past. So can I invite Michael to share for everyone, because we are a very small circle, right? So just feel free.
Yeah, I'd love to. How do I feel? I feel, I'll do the thinking first. My struggle was that the customer flow is very different to Exchange. And so it's a bit, because I think the way we did Exchange, or at least in Australia, was pretty dumb. Like, it's a lot of cold sales. I don't think it's too different to how ISEC does attraction generally. I think it's very outdated. It's not really how modern companies operate and do sales. I've never had someone sell me an iPhone, like that's not really how it works. And I think that managing products, particularly EWA and national products, allows you to help engage your customers. So they're more easier pipeline to other things you can sell, like Exchange or whatever. And so my struggle right now is how to have the customer flow work out, and the VD specifically is the conversion from one product to another. Especially if your like national EWA is just like a very accessible thing that allows people to get in touch with ISEC. That's probably my struggle right now, how to do that properly. And how I feel is quite excited, because I think that that's one of the biggest questions I have about ISEC. Like, why are we stuck in this very obsolete way of doing business? I feel quite excited to be able to take steps to move away from that. Yes.
Understand. Okay, how about others, Ellie and Ali? Oh, I feel like you are trained.
Ali.
Yeah,
Ali,
Ali
you
first.
go first.
Lady first, yeah, okay.
Okay. How do you feel when coming to product management? I think since right now the main things that we're doing is like really national initiatives. It's just generally new that we're still trying to understand how to best go about it. And following the whole design thinking process, involving everyone, making the LCs really aligned to the things that we're doing. So yeah, I think the struggle would just really be trying to make things long term. So for instance, we're doing these different national initiatives, and it's like with every semester, ever since the last MC term, we have to tweak it a little bit every single time, which isn't a bad thing. Like that's really part of the design thinking process, but there's no certainty, and it's always just trying to figure shit out while you're going through everything. So yeah, but I guess it's good that like at this point in the entity, people see the bigger purpose of what we're trying to do, and they can relate it to what we did before. So it's not too far completely from what we used to do before, but it's just new. Yeah. Okay, go Ellie.
Okay. So for me, coming into this session, I feel sort of nervous because ISEC in Pakistan has been doing GT like pretty well, or at least relatively well, in AP for the last year and so. And I'm nervous because we're about to hit a peak for GT now, because winter peak's right here for the short term GT. And I really want to make sure that it goes well for Pakistan. And I'm just trying to set up systems and everything. So my struggle right now is to set the systems to make it happen properly, because even though we are doing exchange, we're doing it in very small volumes. So that means we didn't focus on it a lot in the last year as well. It was sort of a confused mess. So we have lost a bit of our institutional memory to handle volume of exchange. So my struggle is to set up the systems to handle volumes when they come in.
Okay, understand. So I think after getting all the current stage, you guys can share and then can interact more or have some more questions that align with what people share, and also we can have a discussion way. Yeah. So before coming to the section, I just want to say that product management is what is like we need to manage like as MCP. I know that you guys need to manage the MCVP, and sometimes it's a little bit hard because how to say we managing everything in general, right? And sometimes we feel like we are not really understand that domain enough to give like some kind of insightful advice for the MCVP. But don't worry, what we need to say is just like guiding them to have some more questions to make it sufficient. Okay, so I think just because you guys have 6 months as MCP already, so I just want to remind, yeah, this is not the training, but just want to remind you guys the role of the CEO. Just sometime whenever you feel like, wow, I don't really understand that product to give the insightful advice, then you can go back to the CEO roles to see. Okay, so I think this is very basic, right? You will have like lead, manage, and represent. But for today's section, I just want to focus on manage. Yeah, and the CEO roles is more about we as a MCP or as a CEO, we know all of the products that currently right now the entity is running for, and then also what we are selling. And then number 2 is you know how the product run. It's just like in general. Yeah, so that you can see how you can give like some questions for the MCVP. Also, you set the direction and ambition for the products based on the need of the market and the organization. And I believe that we already have this discussion in the planning, and also we can bring in the pre-planning to agree as a whole MC team. Also, number 4 is define the product strategy, tactic, implementation together with the product head, because before that, I thought that the MCP just letting the MCVP to have any kind of like strategy for them. But then later on, I realized that, oh, so the roles of the MCP also need to discuss together with the product head, because sometimes they still need to give us the input so that we can align together with the whole MC team, and also ensure the implementation happens. I know that you guys already know this one and also like practice this one for the last 6 months, but just want to have this conference as a reminder for you guys. Okay, and it's very different from a product head role. Before that, I was MCVP OGV, so I know that's this one. You guys sometimes will need to understand the roles of the MCVP as well, like define how to implement the overall goals as the strategy, define the tactic project that support to achieve the goals, define the deliverable, implementation timeline, stakeholders, and track the implementation in a detailed way. Yeah, and report to team leader, which is you. Report to CEO. Okay, so I hope that this is just a reminder for you guys to reminder for you guys to understand about the roles. And you got a coffee in the like invitation from us, and it's turned out a little bit weird because at first I thought that this will be a very big room, you know, like big room, and then right now it's like, wow, it's like 4 of us. So this is the privilege for Michael, so you can have 3 coffees with us. Okay, so I will share my TCP from Vietnam about how my MCP in the past, who was Karen. I don't know that you know him, or yeah, he from India, and he becomes the MCP of Vietnam. So I will share about the performance management, and then also Ellie can share about the Pakistan, how to align the network to focus on the products and product management. And also Ali will talk. Ali will talk about EWA initiative from Philippines. And also I hope that Michael can share about your learning how you run the app and do a product strategy. This one, I think we have the FAQ cafe. As before that, I'm planning to have fuzzy, that we have active answer and active question. But right now, I think we just like go with the flow. Okay. Wait. Cool. So I will share first. You still can see my screen, right? I change it to, yeah, I change it to the sheets, and it's running here. So I hope you guys still can hear me. Who would forget about Canada? Okay. What happened? Yeah, this is the list page just for Michael. Okay, so before that, I just want to introduce you guys just a very basic system. But I think this one as an MCVP, this is the insight from me. I think because I was MCVP before, so I think I understand your members' feeling. So anything you want to ask, you can ask me as well. So in here, I think we will have this one as focus. Yeah, so basically your members, because I was MCVP, right? So sometimes I feel like I'm very into the detail and I'm not looking a whole as a big picture. So I think this sheet support me a lot in terms of like having my focus and also see my teammate focus to do synergy with them as well. So we just put on the month that we have left right now from now to the end of the term, and then we put all of the columns there as the focus of each month. Yeah, and also we have a notice about like when we have the new MCP, when we have a new MCVP, and what's like after that should have a focus of transition and also guiding, onboarding, shadowing as well. So I think this sheet support me a lot into like heavy focus for my products because I need to aware of the whole timeline to arrange the job based on the focus of the product as well. And this support me a lot in terms of performance management. And also each month we will have, I don't know you implement this one for your MC or not, but my MC is not really disciplined to put down here, but just for me as some you can arrange with your members about the things that align as a whole MC teams and then implement it as a whole MC team. But for me personally, this support me a lot in terms of setting the monthly KPI and also look from the last 6 months till now. What's it the month like the accumulate monthly goals? Yeah, and also what I will need to achieve in the last 6 months. And also I'm breaking it into the monthly priorities and week priorities as well. So this is support me a lot in terms of managing myself as an MCVP and also my MCP to know what's in the progress of myself on implementing those. Yeah, so I think this support me a lot in terms of performance management. So this will go through each month. Yeah, this is July. So this is July. So that's why people just like go everywhere. And they didn't really discipline on putting it. But for March, April, May, you can see like a lot of people put here. Yeah, and it support a lot into performance management for a product as a whole. At the end, like the last month, you can put the final deliverable as well. As I'm here, my MCP support me to do this one as the final deliverable. I need to make, for example, report, booklets, and all the things for the products. Yeah, because the context in Vietnam is at the end of the phase or at the end of the terms, we will just forget to do report. Yeah, so we will never leave any report for the successor, and this will create a very huge loss because we create a lot in terms of the term and the year, but after that we forget to transit it to as a document. Yeah, we just like talking and transit in verbally. Yeah, so I think this support a lot in monthly. For weeklies, we'll have some kind of like evaluation like this. This is just still a basic one as what went well, even better if support and suggestion we have as each individually. So every week we will talk about this one as well for that product to see where we should go and And what should we ask for support from the whole MC team? Cool. So this is the chef from Vietnam. And right now, I think I will invite, where should, no, nothing. Okay, so do you guys have any questions, or you guys want to hear about the sharing from an MCVP or something like that? So I can share about this.
Can you go back to the tool? Can I take another look for it?
Yeah.
Can you go to the monthly evaluations?
Yeah.
Just pick one month. Yeah. I just want to see what happened here. And the whole team shares this, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. No, it's straightforward. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, any more questions? Then I will have another one to invite my coffee.
I have a question actually.
Okay.
So from Michael and Ali, actually, guys, I just want like maybe a short description of how you guys manage performance.
Yeah, also same.
Oh, well. The way I manage performance is, the principle is that while I've used systems like what Min is showing when I was LCP, for example, I also think that, especially as things are they evolve very quickly, and things come up you don't anticipate, you need to spend time on, it's quite dynamic. So what I do is I just ask my MCVPs, what are your priorities for the week and how can I support? And then I'll relate their tasks to their KPIs and to their plan, acknowledging that flexibility is probably more important than hitting your plan as circumstances change. The reason I ask what their priorities are is because what they decide their priorities are the things that they, from their perspective, see as the most important, and the ones that those are the activities they're most likely to be engaged in and put lots of energy and time into. And so for me, I try and empower people like that to be like, okay, I don't know how to do your job. I'll just leave you to it. But I do take time to, because like I'll have one-to-one with them every week. We work together pretty much every day on our like virtual office setup. So we'll just check your trackers and stuff, but it's not as planned out as what Min put, which is not a bad thing or a good thing. It's just, I just think the situation in Australia was more dynamic. Yeah, that's how we did it.
Yeah, I think, oh my gosh, I hear myself echoing from Michael. Okay, anyway, yeah, having our review as well, or even just communicating with my team, how we usually do it is like a PA. That's what we have, like, it's laid out. So everyone, you see it in like a month and then every week what's happening. But that hasn't been super effective for us, I think, because I mean, I love my team, but at the same time, they're not so apt when it comes to checking all of these specific check boxes and everything. So how I went about it is that usually, so our MCM changed to Wednesday, but whenever it was back to Monday, how it would be is that every week, so when we start with the MCM, we're gonna start their week with there, and then we're gonna be having like the weekly reporting. So for the weekly reporting, that's like the what went well, even better if, what are your bottlenecks, what are the things you're working on? Because it's a little bit like, as Michael said, a little bit more flexible than having like fixed maybe 3 lines or something for them to fill out every week. And during that space, that's where they openly ask for help there. And at the same time, I give them their priorities for the week. Like, what are the minimums that I need from you throughout the week? But also at the start of every month, I would be setting that, okay, this is what we need in the entity, et cetera, and going from there. So, but now, admittedly, we're kind of struggling since like October was a mess. People's academic calendars also changed as well. So, what I'm planning to do is, since now our MCM moved to Wednesday, is to have Monday check-ins. I'm thinking of like, I can call them for a good 5 minutes or something just to update to make the updates a little bit more personal, and setting the priorities for the week so that by Wednesday it's gonna be like a checkpoint for them to share with the MC what they're working on. So again, it's a little bit less on the tracker aspect because I think they're flooded now already in their own trackers. But just making sure that it's very clear with everyone. Yeah, that's kind of how I handle it right now.
Cool. Yay. So yeah, I put the link here. So whenever you receive the output, you can go there and see what is the thing that's suitable for you guys, and you guys can take it as well. So right now we can move on to Ellie, so you can share, and also people can ask about.
Which one?
Do you want
or
do you
the
want
other
me
one?
to share, or the slide that you have here?
You,
Okay.
Ellie.
Okay,
Ellie
yeah,
with
yeah.
the
You,
E.
Ellie, Ellie with E.
okay. Okay. I think you can share the slide on your screen, man. That
Yeah.
will be nice.
Okay.
Okay, guys. So I am just gonna talk very briefly about how you can align your network towards focusing on products, and how you can basically have products be like the big thing in their mind, where they all want to do it, where they're all focused towards doing it, and they don't really create a lot of problems for you and like question you a lot, that, oh, why are you telling me to do this when I want to do that or something, and you basically build priority in their mind. So it first has to begin with you being very clear on which product you want to prioritize. And this can actually apply to different things as well, like not just products. If you want to like align your network towards Eva or BD or something like that as well, firstly you need to be very clear on why you want to do it, and not just be clear because you discussed it with your team. Be clear because you have facts and figures through market research or something. So last year when I was MCVP IGT, this was one of those things that I really wanted my MC team to work on. I teamed up with my MCVP OGT, and both of us conducted market researches as soon as we got onto the MC, because back then everyone was like, exchange is never going to happen again. ISIC in Pakistan thought they would never do GT again. They thought they're doomed. And I was like, what are you fucking talking about, guys? It's like, of course we can do exchange, but I had to prove it through facts and figures. So we did our market research back then. And once we showed it to the network, we built that trust in them. We made them understand that this is why we want you to focus on it, and we were also super clear on it. And this year when I became MCP, that this is the first thing I did. I asked both of my MCVP OGX and my MCVP IGT to do market researches to show to the network. Min, can we go to the next slide? And after we did the market research, we figured out which stakeholders we wanted to influence through it. So pretty textbook stuff, right? The first group of people you want to get on your side are the LCPs, because like even if you have the LCVPs thinking one way, if the LCPs don't agree, they can just very easily tell their LCVPs to like not give a fuck about what the MC is saying. At least that's what it's like in ISIC in Pakistan. Like we really need to get the LCPs onboarded with things. So I kept commission calls and everything with with my LCPs, where I made them understand why we're doing what we're doing, what's the reason why like we're focusing on GT right now. And the second priority we set on the MC was EVA, and then the third was BD. So I gave them justifications for all three priorities, and why we're doing basically what we're doing. That was one stakeholder we had to influence. And then of course the LCVPs you really need to get them on board too. But first the LCPs, because they drive things. Next slide. And then this is where you game with the system. So one thing I realized being on the MC is that we sort of set the playing field for our like national plenary, right? Like we decide what RNRs are going to happen. We decide what messages are going to go into the network, and we decide like the entire communication strategy for the network, right? Regardless of whether you have less number of LCPs or more number of LCPs, everyone will still look up to you for like giving them the way forward, right? So you design your RNRs. What we did was we emphasized products and our priorities as an MC into the award booklets. So we have awards twice a year. And in both those awards, we made sure to put in as many product-based RNRs as we could based on our priorities. We used our internal ICOM channels as well. So apart from the MC page on Instagram, we have an internal group with all of our ISIC membership. And over there, we started posting regular performance updates. So every week we'd put a leaderboard, or every 2 weeks we would put put a leaderboard for things you wanted to prioritize. So from the LCP level to the member level, we created a sense of competition amongst people to try their best to achieve in these products, because they were getting external validation from the MC. And it might be different in your ISEC culture, but for ISEC in Pakistan, it was very centered around like a competitive thing where LCs really wanted to be the best, or be wanted to see as like the top gun. Like, it was sort of like a dick measuring contest everywhere. Apologies for my language, but they really wanted to make things be like that. So we were like, okay, cool, we'll play with you like that. Next slide. And then I had a conference recently in August. I made sure to add our product priorities as like a part of the entire agenda. So we had like a separate space on day one, the opening day of the conference, talking just about products and making people understand why we're doing what we're doing and what's the reason behind all of it, because they also need to connect with the why. And then, like, announcing R&Rs at the conference as well, just to create as much of a hype as we can. Just make the network crazy about what you want them to be crazy about. Next slide. And then in the end, I can just say it's all about ICOM, and ICOM, internal communications. As an MC, I think the biggest power, in my opinion, that you have on the member committee is the power to drive ICOM. Because as I mentioned, you decide what the network is going to think about, right? So you need to play with that, and you need to be very smart about it. Push your priorities through every social media channel that you can towards your network, through every Telegram or WhatsApp group that you guys have. It's a lot of internal communication. And I think we as MCPs can just sit down, drive the entire strategy, get our MC team onboarded, and then just execute. And eventually we'll have our network going crazy about our products. So I tested this as an MCVP. I'm doing this now as an MCP as well. It's working out so far. Of course, there's room for improvement, but like, yeah. And also this might not even apply to your entities, by the way, because you guys exist in very different contexts, but maybe this is something that you can take bits and pieces out of, for other things that you do. If you have any questions,
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Ellie. Okay, any questions or any sharing?
Yeah, I have a question. Ellie, when you said, can you go to the first slide, Min?
Yeah.
What's that? Go to the second slide, Min. What do you mean you tell the entities what to prioritize? Like, what's it? If I'm an LCP and I hear I have to prioritize GT and then EUL, what do I do with that information? Like, how do you communicate it?
Basically, the thing is, whenever you want to implement a strategy, you sort of have to make sure that there is buy-in from the network, right? So firstly, as an MCP and as an MC team, you conduct your research and everything to be sure of what it is that you're prioritizing, so that you're not wrong on your end. And then you downscale that information to the LCPs and make them understand why this is a priority and why they should do it as well. So you sort of have to get their buy-in. And then you lay down the system and the processes for them to be able to execute those things. But first things first, they need to buy into what you're selling them. Does that make sense? Did I answer your question?
I'm not sure you did. I'm just thinking like, okay. So I know I have to prioritize IGT over EWA. But what's that mean? Like, how does that affect? Okay, what does prioritize mean, like, specifically?
Oh, okay. So prioritize basically means that you invest more resources and more skilled talent and more of your, let's say, how should I put it, engagement and energy towards one thing over the other. So you don't destroy the other thing completely. Like for example, how we do it in Pakistan is we can't entirely rely on exchange, but we still push it as a priority because we know it's going to give us more returns in the near future. So we set that as the thing that everyone has to put the most emphasis on and allocate the most resources on. But on the second level, we have BD.
I know what the word prioritize means, but like in this specific context, right? I hear prioritize BD and I think, how do I do that? And when does that come in? Like, what exactly am I told? Do you know what I mean? Like,
I I think I
What
think
do
I
I do?
understand. Yeah, I think I understand your side, and I also observe the way my MCP do as well. So I think it's very clear on the way you downscale for the network. For example, you downscale the ANA booklet, right? The way the ratio in the that booklet is very significantly reflect on the priorities of the entity. And we will communicate clearly for the whole LCP commission as well. And also in MC meeting, we also remind a lot about the priorities of our entities. And we ask a lot of others entity for support, like others like MCVP to support that focus product. And sometimes I feel like I left out because I am still be OGV, and at that time OGV cannot run in Vietnam, so I need to support like BD support. Yeah, so I think it can be communicated by all materials and the way you talk with the network.
I don't think I don't think that question got answered. Did it?
No, well, what I was wondering is, in that specific instance, what are you actually telling them? Like, okay, I know I have to have a priority. What does it mean to have a priority? Like, how does that influence the way how does me, after having this priority, have different operations to me before having this priority? What exactly am I doing, right? And so I'm wondering at what point, because that's what I struggle with, people having clarity on what they need to do. And I'm wondering when did that come in? And how did you do that?
Yeah, makes sense. I think this is a longer, this requires a longer answer. So what I'll do is maybe I'll send you a VN or something over this later. For now, maybe we can have Ali give her session or something.
And
Okay, but I think it's the 9 input, right? Because of struggle. So I think we can follow up on this later. Yeah, the conversation after this. So right now, so we go to the last thing. Yeah, and you guys can still note down some concern there, and we can discuss after this section. Okay, this is from Ali.
oh, I can share my screen, Min.
Oh,
'cause I feel like I have to speed run some parts, but it's okay. So hi guys. Okay, so I'm here to share about EWA, MC Synergies, partnership, value delivery, and so forth. So as a disclaimer, this is not just my MC who has been working on this. Definitely, it was the past MC as well. So yeah, familiar faces. So if before, so like it's kind of like how it started, how it's going. So before, what we really did is TBH, this was a time that we had no idea that other entities were innovating. So we were just kind of bullshitting our way and trying to Google all the things about design thinking during all the research. But one of the tools that was really helpful that we got from my great predecessors looking into KPUU. So this is like the known, presumed, unknown, unknowable, things like that. Since there's a lot of uncertainty that was happening. So basically, we took all of these tools. We had a dreaming process as an MC and LC, and kind of figured out that, you know, we're just gonna try whatever we can and move on from there. So this is like how it started, where we made 3 different umbrella EWA, which is first developed with ISEC, which is like a lot of training programs. The next one is Speak Up with ISEC. So we had YSF, we had YSF, we had podcasts, and also Connect with ISEC. So this is in the more cross-cultural aspect. So yeah, there's basically a lot of things that we're working on and just trying to experiment, because we're like, okay, we'll figure it out afterwards or as we go, how everything will be. So I'll skip this over here. I'll skip this as well. But yeah, we explained these slides in the timeline and the process with the entire entity. So we had a lot of town halls with our entire entity to really explain everything, etc. So let me skip there. So in terms of how it's going, so as I said, every semester it's really been something new. We've had to really keep going back to the design thinking process and really assess all of the things that we're doing. So if like before conceptualization, we piloted first on the MC level and let the LCs kind of innovate, but we realized that the LCs really didn't have the same capacity to innovate. So now at the center of my term, we really filtered it down to like three main things that we're focusing on, and making it into certain SOPs. So with that, like as a team, it was helpful in terms of synergy because we had a clear big picture of what we wanted to do. So like the areas that we wanted to address is the accessibility, flexibility, and scalability of what we're doing, despite the kind of uncertain situation that we're in. So that brought us into here. So these are like the main things that we're doing. So Lakbayani, this is basically like local volunteer projects, remote. Everything is remote, local talent as well. So like the internships. And then our umbrella project. So training for grads, it's more of an event. And training for orgs, it's just a low-key thing that we're trying where we're offering um, OD services to different organizations and training for senior high school students who are people who are about to join college. And we kind of use this as a low-key recruitment tactic. So the different synergies that we have from here is, I mean, this isn't very new or amazing, but network corner, power corner, and operations corner, we just basically like another MCM. So in handling this, we always make sure that like outside of the MCM, we're gonna be talking about these specific things that are italicized there. And that's, at least for me, like I'm really grateful because my team is also, they have a lot of initiative when it comes to asking for each other for help. So even if I'm not in the specific corner meeting that we're having, it's something that they do as well. And yeah, I guess from the last MC term, one of the things that I really learned is that the entire MC definitely has to be involved in the conversations with regards to IWA, because like it's not just running these initiatives itself, it's also like the JD, capacity building, a lot of EST synergy. So for example, all of the sales is being supported by a BD manager who is kind of like seeded into the IWA initiatives that we're doing and so forth. So to run down some samples that I have, this is for training for senior high school students. So it's a 3-week program. So we have a national OC, then LCs also run it. So national OC helps with the capacity building of all the LCs, etc. And we have local and national touch points. So it's a mix of asynchronous and synchronous training. And what we're trying to aim for really towards there is product webbing. So be that membership, be that the other IWA that we're doing, that's something. And also we have an external community, which one of our LCs has been piloting, where the people who, since right now we're university based, the people who technically can't join ISEC because they're outside of those universities, we have like a community with them. So yeah, it's trying to really go for it there. So I'm just gonna go through the summary of this rather than like the individual, but it'll be part of the output if you want to look through it. But some of the main examples of synergies that we have there, so partnerships and value delivery. So we have a couple of long-term partnerships that carried over into this term. So that's really the responsibility, and my BD always facilitates a conversation, making sure that all of the functions are accountable to whatever value delivery that we have to do. Metrics and evaluation. So this is something that definitely I have to constantly review, especially with FLA for goal achievement and also Ops Corner. Because in Ops Corner, since right now the metrics are kind of whack with everything, we're trying to streamline all of the evaluations that we have, because it's not like a typical expa thing that you can do. But we're trying to get like the right information, especially in kind of validating us as a leadership development org. And since in the different touch points and the programs that they have, they're also facilitators. It's not the most strategic thing, but one of the things which is cool is that my MC, like they volunteer to be part of it, part of the product, even if they're not running, and having that kind of sense of accountability, and really downscaling it to all of their commissions, all the opportunities for other members to volunteer to help out, and also the alumni network. So I'll skip over there. So yeah, definitely to summarize the slide, all of those routines is really what is helpful for us, and really making sure that we're also benchmarking. So I ask a lot of questions to other APMCPs, especially on how they're running things, because we can't just stay in our own kind of in our own bubble for the things that we're doing, and trying to make their synergy as personal as possible, not really, oh, can you do this for me? Can you do that, etc. But we also do try to integrate IR for capacity building and engagement, so we don't lose that connection. Other things is, yeah, there are a lot of bumps along the way. And when we started out, basically, there wasn't the proper capacity building, etc. But yeah, the last thing that I'll jump into in sharing is really nice because it was kind of a late realization that it really was effective what we were doing for product webbing. But at least for us right now, right, EWA should lead to ELD. For us, the only option right now is really membership. So it's really great that a lot of people, there's some Filipino in there, but there are a lot of delegates who became ISICers right after, or they returned to become a delegate for another run, which is cool because, yeah, this girl over here, she was part of my run because I handled the innovations last term, and now she's a member. So, yeah, all of that is just really something that we're trying to track to make sure that we kind of become this present body in all the different stages right before you join college, and after college. So, yeah, that's kind of what we're doing right now and how my team works together. So, yay, if you guys have questions, just let me know.
Yay! Thank you, Ali.
Yay.
Are you making money from it?
Yes, we are, bro. Dude, I'm so proud. The
Nice.
training for senior high school students, like all of our expenses for the term in one semester or one quarter, done. So
No way. No shit. For real?
that's not even greedy, bro. So
You can when you can
yeah.
hella start spending more. That's so good. Who are you? Are
We're
you
not
charging?
spending anything.
Are you
Like it's
charging
just
students or the high schools?
we've been trying the high schools, but we need to align the timeline because
Makes sense.
MC timeline is a little whack in doing school sales, but we do have a student relations scheme for that, for to make it more long.
Is it EWA compliant?
Yes.
You back, right? Okay, recording in progress. Okay, yeah, I think just now you already go through the track, right? So next then, let's have like some key takeaway sharing. So I will also invite like one person from the track. But then since we have not much time left, right? So I think you just need to share like one main key takeaway that you have. Yeah. So let's go with the first one from Tony track since they come here very soon. Yeah. So they have more time. Okay, who want to go? I think have Malaysia, Vietnam, and Sri Lanka.
Maybe I'll go.
Yeah.
So that was a very productive discussion because we were talked about the power corners and how we can utilize it for the betterment of the entity. So in that case, one of the issues that we faced was discussed, and I got very good inputs as well. And at the same time, the structures that we are utilizing, it's pretty much different. Like for an example, Isaac Sri Lanka's power corner meeting structure is quite different from Vietnam and Malaysia. So in that case, those GCPs were shared as well. So at the very end, actually, we had a very productive discussion as well. And the final conclusion actually gives me a better understanding. Like Tony finally said that you don't have to change a lot. You have to keep your routines. If you complicate things too much, then it's going to be tough for you guys. So that was one of the things that I actually agree. So it was a very productive discussion. Thanks all of you guys.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Manuka. Yeah, I was also there for a while. Yeah, it's very nice to hear your sharing. And then for the second product management, anyone want to go? Who we have in the lab room? I think have Michael, Ali.
Yeah. So I guess it was good. It was good to hear what everyone's doing. Well, everyone. It was good to hear what worked for Min and for Ellie. And Ellie talked about her high school program. I have this weird situation in my entity where I don't know if you guys can relate to this, but like the LCs will all simultaneously decide to do some random shit without asking, and it just happens, and you're like, what the hell's happening, you know? And so what happened is that like 8 LCs are electing a VP for like PD, for partnership development. I don't know what the hell partnership development is, but we just have 8 VPs now. And so I'm like, well, fuck, man, like they're gonna figure out something. And Ali talked about a high school program. I'm not in love with high school programs, but Food Heroes recently changed my mind, so maybe I'll just yoink it. This is my my takeaway. So thank you, Ali, and thank you everyone else too.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Yeah, I think every NEC have that problem. LC doing things that you don't know. Yeah. Okay, and then for the last room about succession, right? Then what did you take away from like prior section? Anyone? Any MCB from that room? Oh, sorry.
Okay, I can share.
Yeah.
So from the succession group, the thing that I realized that every entity has like a different kind of like concern regarding in which level the succession problem is actually happening. So in my case, there's an MCP, in another case, it will be in LCEBs and everything. So it's just different. And also, how can we actually create the tools that is going to be universal for all the entities in ISAC? That's going to be something really useful. And that's why we need to implement the MXP again. So the succession, the whole succession is going to be easy for the next terms. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ubi. Yeah, okay. So I think probably you all have like your personal takeaway from it, right? And then maybe have certain other question that you haven't settled yet. Then you can, but then you can know a bit about like who you want to approach or who you want to talk to, so that you can have more input. Yeah. Okay. So I think to recap the whole section, right? So I think just to share something is that this is the sentence that I think Show May, she was like the regional director when I think before issue, right, when we was like MCVP, and she said in our planning is that every MC term is like building a house. Yeah, I still remember until now. And then basically, right, every MC planning or replanning, you just building like your roof. So you have like certain MC win and then certain MC project that you want to implement so that you can achieve your win, and then you have your legacy also that you want to leave for the next generation. Yeah. So it's like the thing that you want to build first in the house, and then so to sustain your house, right? And then you will have like three pillar, I don't know. So the first one, it will be your product, right? Your product portfolio. Yeah. So that's why just now we talk about like how we can manage product. Yeah. And then the second pillar, right, is that it will be about finance. How LBD and also how FL synergize, and then how they work together, how we can bring the revenue, how we can manage the cost. Yeah. And then lastly, right, the last one, it will be our people. How we can do talent. How we can do pipeline nurturing, and then how we can plan for succession to ensure that we're able to carry off the legacy. Yeah. So every term, right, you will have different focus. Like maybe certain term you want to build up stronger in terms of finance, and then certain term you will spend more on people building. Yeah. So I think always to be conscious about what is like the thing that we want to build within the house, within our term. Yeah. So I think last question to leave for us to think about is that what is the house that you want to leave for the next generation, 2, 3, when you finish your term. Yeah. So I think that's our section today. And then, Tony, we will have break time, or we will just proceed to another one.
Yes, thank you, Mary, for this session, which is amazing. But also next session is also Mary. But before we get started, let's have a 3-minute break because I think Mary also needs to wrap up and also prepare the next session. I'll play one song so you can still stay in this room. Please don't leave because when you get in and connected, it takes lots of time. So I'll play one song. After that, we can continue in the next session.
Malik, can you the song for us? Tony.
What? What happened?
Hey.
Oh, I should sing? Okay.
That's the popular demand.
Just a second. Romali, can you stop recording this?
Yes, please don't record like this.